Hey everybody, it's EK from EK Gorman Designs, and I am sneaking in today with the third and final part of my three-part series for 5 fast cards featuring the marvelous Men's Cardmaking Kit from White Rose Crafts. And I am right off the bat with a decoupage piecing from the kit. If you're not familiar with decoupage die sets, they're pre-punched, proliferated sets where you can pop out the pieces and then add some dimensional tape and pop up literally, and it becomes this really cool piece that's actually very little effort. It's kind of foolproof on how to make it. And there's 2 different sheets of decoupage in this particular set. One is boat themed, and it's this one here, and it's got 3 different pieces on that piece. And then there's another one that's another men's set that I actually did and I used in a previous video, but it's also a very man-themed decoupage set. And it's just, I think, really a cool way, a simple way to make a cool card for a man. I die cut using the anchor some of the metallic black cardstock, just because that metallic paper, if you've never used it, especially if you've never die cut it, it die cuts like a gem. It really is my favorite paper to die cut because this is a really intricate die. It's got a lot of seaming and little pieces that punch out. I ran it through once. That's it, just once, and it came out perfect. It's my favorite cardstock, and if you like reflective cardstock, then there's just not much more reflective than this. So I used a little bit of Ranger's Glossy Accents to glue down my anchor, and then added the decoupage sheet. I almost left the card right like that as it was, but I have this whole, 12 by 12 sheet of stickers that's included in the kit, so I thought, okay, I'll pull one out. And the brown, I thought, actually went with the colors on this page. And in fact, I thought the brown sentiment kind of broke up the weird patriotic feel the card was starting to get with the blue paper and the red cardstock. And it ended up being, I think, quite nice. So there's our first card from today's 5 fast cards. My second card, I pulled out the black metallic cardstock, and I wanted to show how versatile this cardstock really was. So I pulled out some embossing powder. If you're not familiar with it, it keeps the embossing, I didn't pull out the embossing powder. I pulled out the static guard, and it keeps embossing powder from sticking to the cardstock. I then pulled out the stamp set that's included in the kit and inked it up with my Versamark ink, and just gave it a good old pressing because, yeah, I'm a terrible stamper. I mean, genuinely a terrible stamper. Intricate stamps like this I just struggle with. Instead of using a colored embossing powder, I went with the Superfine Clear, just because I really thought it'd be cool to add a shiny element to this already shiny cardstock. And I really love the ghost hint that came out on the paper. I thought it was really a fun way to use these stamps. Then I added the sentiment, which is also from the stamp set. It says, "Enjoy the ride." And this one I decided from the beginning I wasn't going to do clear, I was going to do colored. So I pulled out it's not liquid silver, liquid platinum embossing powder. And it's just this really great silver color, but on the black cardstock, it's really grungy looking. Like, it's perfect. I thought the whole look was exactly what I wanted it to be. I added some, instead of just using my Tombow tape, I really wanted this one to stick just because the cardstock is so thick. So I used some score tape and adhered it down to my A2 card frame. Now, I know the embossing powder doesn't come in the kit, but I figured most crafters have some kind of embossing powder laying around at this point. And if not, you can simply stamp it in a colored or white pigment ink, and it will still show up on that black metallics paper. That's one of the great things about a pigment ink, is it lays on top of the paper, and it shows up even on dark cardstock, whereas a dye ink would never show up on a dark cardstock. I added just a little bit of extra trim using some of the copper metallics paper, and then added a few of the included self-adhesive metal accents. I used the squares, which I find incredibly frustrating because you have to really think to line them up. At least with the circle, like, circle's a circle, it lines up, you just gotta get it in a row. But the square, you have to get square off each other. Anyway, there's my second card today. It didn't photograph well, but in real life, boy, does it look cool. For my third card, I thought I'd play around with these, some of the plaid papers included in the kit. If you missed my unboxing, there's a link right here to it. There's lots of really cool plaid papers that coordinate beautifully with each other. And if you cut them right, like I have here, you can get them to actually line up with each other. Look how fun that is. It lines up. By the way, didn't intentionally did it. It's one of those happy accidents that you learn after the fact. You're like, oh, I should have lined that up. Oh, I did line it up. I did. Yeah, it's one of those moments in life where you think, I can do this. From the beginning, I knew I was going to use this green banner that says "Wish You Were Here." And that's kind of where I was lost with what I was going to do. But there's these really cool arrows, and they're actually kind of still, at least my pack was still attached a little bit on the top. So I was like, you know what? I'll just use a series of them together. And the colors still really work with the paper, I think. So, yeah, that one had to go. It's not a full arrow piece. But the rest, I just lined back up and adhered down to the paper. Again, the card wasn't quite finished, but there's some cool kangaroos on that 12x12 sticker sheet. And so I thought, okay, I'll add a little kangaroo because, you know, kangaroo. And then I decided to use my classy accents to make him shiny because shiny's cool. Even men like shiny things. If they didn't, they wouldn't drive so many sports cars. Stereotypes, I know, shame on me. But I added shiny to this card because I like shiny. So I didn't add it to all the pieces, but I did add it to a handful of the arrow pieces. I added it to the kangaroo, and I also went ahead and added it to the banner because I thought the banner was what I really wanted people to see. I wanted them to see the sentiment, "Wish You Were Here." I think this is a great card to send to a parent, like your dad or an uncle or a grandparent even, just saying, hey, thinking of you and I wish you were here. I really do like how these plaid papers just kind of, I don't know, I'm a big fan of the plaid papers in the set. For my fourth card, I didn't necessarily make a classical masculine card, but you know what? There's some really cool floral stickers on the 12x12 sticker sheet, and I wanted to see if I could play around with them and make a cool, gender-neutral, could go to anybody card. And I think I was able to do that by using the copper Metallics paper, and I think the copper paper really helped keep the card feeling gender-neutral despite the fact I put a floral and botanical images onto the card. I added the card to my A2 frame and included the relax sticker from the Gone Fishing sticker set. And actually was like, oh, I've made a mistake. This is kind of boring. It needs more detail. And then I remember there's this cool stamp in the stamp set. You'll see I make a mistake. I tried to stamp it out in gray because I didn't want it to be the focus. I just wanted it to kind of blur into the background. And the gray definitely did not work. But when I pulled out the navy blue ink, it actually stamped beautifully and it had the effect I wanted it to do. You can totally laugh. You can see it was a last minute plan because I'm having to use a piece of scratch paper to keep it from stamping onto the botanical leaves. And again, I thought about ending the card here, but it did need a sentiment. So I pulled out this one right here and thought this was what's going to make it seem masculine even though it is botanical. I thought the enjoy the journey was kind of the perfect look to finish the card. For my final card today, I decided to create some printed paper on my card frame. So I pulled out some gray ink and just started stamping this giant sticker, or not sticker, giant stamp, and it's just kind of like a ticket stamp, almost like a train ticket, like an old school train ticket, like where it's got all the different stop options. I don't know. I think it's cool. It's really detailed, and I never really wanted it to be the focal of the card. I wanted it to blend into the background. One of the reasons I used such a light ink while stamping this was because I wanted it to feel old and distressed and just kind of blended into the background. And as I kept stamping it and the stamp kept stamping, again, I'm a really bad stamper. As I kept stamping badly, it got that effect I wanted. Sometimes being a bad stamper pays off in the cases where you want something to look a specific way. this case, I think I got the effect I was looking for here. And I wasn't afraid to stamp off the page, which I think helped in the end. Now, I'm not done stamping here, because sometimes on a really great printed paper background, there's more than one image and they're layered over each other. So I pulled the little Admit One ticket and then pulled out my green Scrapberry ink. It's the pigment ink that's included in the kit, and just went ahead and stamped over my already stamped images because I wanted that like layered effect. And once I added that green imaging, you can see where the gray one really does fade into the background, but not in a bad way. It just, I don't know, I think it finishes the card nicely. I could be wrong. It could be a personal opinion that's just mine, but it's my card, so my opinion's the only one that matters right now. I did pull out some of the washi tape that's included in the kit and added a strip of it. Now, the colors were a little bolder and brighter than I wanted for this card, but I liked the idea of the washi tape. So I pulled out a strip of already cut blue plaid paper and added it to the card. And I really like the effect that I've gotten here. I added a sentiment sticker and realized it wasn't enough, so added the follow me and thought, perfect, here we go. I'm actually going to save this card for my husband and give it to him right before our next move, which is coming up in probably about a year. Thanks for peeking in today. Let me know in the comments below which of these 5 fast cards is your favorite. And until then, happy crafting.